Hello babes, my name is Ebuka, a plant icon. Yes, you heard me right, icon. Based here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I grow plants both indoors and outdoors in my hellfire of a country. Yeah, so if you're just seeing my face for the first time, because I know these videos tend to have a wider reach, if you're just seeing my face for the first time and you like what you see so far, subscribe or stay tuned. Okay, so today I'm actually going to give you guys a full tour, emphasis on full, on every single plant I grow indoors. Now typically when I do these tours I usually restrict it to my plant room, but this time we're going far and beyond. I'm going to show you plants in my living room and also my bedroom. We're getting that intimate. Yes, so without much ado, I don't like to make my introductions too long. Without much ado, let's get to the nitty-gritty, babes. Let's start with showcasing the plants I've displayed in this corner. And babes, I've told you guys about this plant before. Some of you know this is a philodendron that I feel like you guys in the West are completely sleeping on. I can't remember her name now. I'm gonna insert her name in the video, but she's such an easy and indoor friendly philodendron. And I want you guys in the States, in the US, in the UK to please write to your big box stores to start stocking her. I will say she's a spreading philodendron, so she needs a lot of real estate because she does take up a lot of space. I've had some of her leaves bruising against the door because babes takes too much space. She's also very drought tolerant and she's capable of neglect. So what's not to love about this babe? So please do add her to your collection. Then this one is my baby babes. Please, if there is any calathea that you should get, it has to be this. This is the Calathea makoyana. This is one of my oldest plants. I've had this babe since when she was a small pup 4 years ago, and we've been through thick and thin. The Nigerian sun has on several occasions tried to fry her to death. She was recently munched to pieces by Nigerian rats, but I brought her indoors and she's living her best life indoors. I completely and 100% will recommend this gorgeous Calathea makoyana. I have her paired in this my rattan planter. You'll find that a lot of my plants are actually paired in rattan. Rattan is truly my vibe. On this floating shelf I have this pothos, emerald pothos. This is an amazing plant that you can just dump on a bookshelf in a medium to low light corner and just allow it to do its thing. I've also incorporated some cute decor knickknacks over here. So girlies, please, when it comes to displaying plants in my plant room, I like to actually incorporate a bit of decor. Another way you can actually style your plants, guys, is just to take cuttings and just dump them inside like some cute little vessels. You don't necessarily have to just grow plants in soil all the time or grow them to be full specimens. Sometimes just take cuttings and dump just for their decorative appeal. All right, dears. Now moving on, this is one of my most talked about plants, guys. This is one of my most precious, my most valuable babies. This is a Dieffenbachia Big Ben Variegata, and if you are an OG of this page, you know that I talk about this plant a whole lot. Look, if there is ever a variegated plant or a rare unicorn plant you should splurge your last money on, splurge it on this baby. You will absolutely not regret it. So I've got this auntie here, and can I blow your mind? She's actually not growing. She's growing in a planter that doesn't have drainage holes. And I did that intentionally because I placed her here and I kept forgetting to water her. So for a very long time, she didn't grow much. She was stunted. If you watch several of my previous tours, you realize this babe hasn't really grown that much. But now that I've placed her in this planter that has no drainage hole, she has started to pick up and started to grow. So babes, you actually you could actually use planters with no drainage hole strategically in corners where you don't often water your plant. Get a plant, stick it in a pot that has no drainage hole, and then just water very sporadically. So that's another tip for you. Okay babes, before we move out of this corner, I want to show you guys something cool that I thrifted. This This analog, I believe this is called a hygrometer, and it records the temperature and also it records the humidity. I want to show you the current temperature in this hellfire country. Indoors it is currently 30, I think this is 32 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is roughly 75%. So if you see me sweating like a goat, then that could probably be why. This country is a sauna. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you one of my precious babies here. This is little Miss, variegated monstera. Do you remember when this plant had all the girlies on a chokehold? I think it still does to a certain extent. Some of you may remember that this is a plant that I almost lost, the Nigerian sun. The Nigerian sun almost fried this plant to pieces when I was growing her outdoors, but I've chopped her back and she has started to grow again. Okay, so one thing I've actually come to realize is that, look, just because I live in a tropical climate doesn't mean I have to grow all these plants outdoors. Some of them, they're better off indoors actually, okay? Okay, babies, it's going to be a bit of a toughie filming the plants here because we're shooting against the light and it's going to be a bit backlit. But I just want to bring your attention to this little contraption over here. This was a gift from a friend and I just hung something, just so I could place a plant next to the window. This is a small aglaonema. Some of you are aglaonema snobs, but not in this household. So this is a small cute aglaonema. I believe this one is an eterose that I stuck here just to give a bit of a, cute effect. Speaking of displays, this is a philodendron hashtatum that I paired in this driftwood that I found just outside while gallivanting the streets of Lagos, and I paired it in this rattan pot. Some of you may remember when I went shopping for this plant. Let me see if I can give her a closer look. Some of you may remember, but to my dismay, this has not grown since then. I don't know what the problem is. Do I need to fertilize her, or perhaps I need to bring her outdoors? So the plus side of growing plants in a tropical country is that you can cheat sometimes and bring out this indoor plant, dump them outdoors if they are not growing well or growing fast, and I think I may have to do that with this one. Then I've got this Pothos Enjoy growing beautifully. Let me bring Mama out so you guys can have a closer look. You guys need to stop snubbing these common plants. They make interesting filler plants and they give your collection some volume. So this one is actually growing in a thrifted pot that has, again, no drainage hole. So I just water very sporadically. And some of you may remember when I got this beautiful begonia. It's been about 2 weeks and Babes is still hanging in there. She's still not there. So I guess there's hope. There's a hope and there's a bright future. So, but just continue to keep her in your prayers. On top of this shelf, I have Monstera Peru. Again, I know this plant isn't so rare for you guys in the West, but for us in Nigeria, this is a rare plant. I'm literally pampering this particular specimen because if this babe should die, I don't know where I will find another one. So yeah, I have her paired in this little trellis thing and this terracotta planter. I love terracotta and rattan. They are my vibes. This shelf also acts as where I display or store some of my pots and everything. I didn't want to entirely congest it with plants. I don't know about you guys, but the goal for me is not to make everything a jungle or fill plants up in every space or corner. Sometimes just leave some breathing space, okay, for other things. Okay. Now let's move on to this beautiful looking auntie over here. Any plant that is native to Africa, I'm a big fan because I'm also a fellow African. Now, you guys in the West were actually the ones that gave me the courage to grow this plant indoors. I'd always seen it as an outdoor plant, but I saw a couple of you grow this indoors in your collection, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And it's been doing well. Look at all the new growth. It's been doing well. I also like the fact that this plant is a tall statement plant that doesn't take up so much. It doesn't have a lot of foliage, so it doesn't take up so much natural light that I desperately need in this room. Over here in this corner with this gorgeous thrifted mirror, guys, please, if there's anything you take out of this video is how to decorate or style your plant room / plant collection. So please incorporate other things, not just plants, but also incorporate other things. Like, you can never go wrong with a mirror where plants are around. Anyways, I've yapped enough of that. The plan for this Rhaphidophora tetrasperma is actually to have it grow all around this mirror, just all around this mirror, and eventually just reach this window over here. It seems rather ambitious, but I'm determined to pull it off. I've seen a couple of girlies in on Instagram and on Pinterest who just have these just growing beautifully. Next at the bottom here is this I believe this is a Sansevieria Yellowstone. This is one of the slowest growing plants in the world, and I would strongly advise, if you're getting this plant, just make sure you get it when it is full. I've had this babe for over a year and she's growing painfully slowly, but you know, she's still beautiful nonetheless. And then this is a very interesting contraption, guys. This is a snake plant and a calathea all growing together in the same pot. I didn't plant them together. The calathea just grew as a weed, and you know, sis is doing her thing. But I think I should separate her, though. I think she's stealing from the beauty of this snake plant. What do you guys think? Do I separate them or do I leave them together? Let me know, darlings. I have this philodendron ring of fire and I paired sis in a terracotta pot. Now you guys know I have come to tell you guys that terracotta pots are not always the best for your collection, and I still stand by that because they can be extremely porous. But this is the only plant in my indoor collection that I potted directly inside a terracotta pot because I love the look. I just love the look and the pairing, you know, of it in terracotta. So what I've done to supplement having to water all the time is I always make sure there's water in this little cash tray here, so she can have at least some water that she can, you know, sip into the soil. So yes, ring of fire, philodendron. This was just a recent purchase, so she's not grown very big. Do you remember when this plant used to be so rare and difficult to find? Now she's pretty much everywhere. And then I've got this peperomia angulata over here. I paired her in this thrifted pot. Fun story, guys. When I bought this pot online, I thought it was going to be big. I thought it was going to be a big floor pot, only for me to see something small. I've been able to find use for her. Also, do you guys remember that this was a peperomia I came to complain to you guys about that was declining, but I've been able to nurse her back from some cutting, so I'm very proud of myself. Over in this corner is this shelf. One of the best decisions I made in life was to move this shelf from outdoors where it was being underutilized to indoors where it now beautifully displays plants. Now on top this shelf, I've kept this, my Mandula pothos. Some of you have noticed this Mandula pothos babe in the backdrop of some of my videos. The thing I don't like about vining plants is that there's always one vine that will just ruin the vibe. I don't know what's going on, but this vine looks a bit more wilted than the rest. I'm gonna have to unpot her and find out what the problem is, but the rest seem to be really happy. And if you're wondering how I'm able to keep all these plants in my plant room, honestly, I have a bit of a confession. I use grow lights, cheap grow lights from Temu. I actually took them out for the purpose of recording this video because they make the place look hideous. Okay, so if you're watching this fancy Soltex, someone with more aesthetically appeasing grow lights, please ship it out to your boy, please. Let's do a collaboration. Okay, so then moving on here, I've got my snake plant. This is a snake plant, well-themed snake plant. And some of you have heard our snake plant snobs. Not on this page. We appreciate our snake plants, and they also make excellent filler plants. And next, I've got my samurai, Sansevieria samurai. I grew this babe from when she was a small pup, and now just look at her, you know, doing her thing, looking beautiful. There's this pothos that is just trailing around everywhere. I believe this is a marble queen pothos. She's just doing her thing, trailing around beautifully. And that's also another way you can style your plant. A vining plant always pairs well with a shelf. Like you can either style it this way or have it trailing downwards, like I've done so here with my Mandula pothos. I don't want to skip what I've done on top here. This is a variegated epipermium that I just chose to grow entirely in water because this plant grows like an aggressive weed. So again, I want to reiterate, sometimes you don't have to grow every plant to a full large specimen. Just pop, stick it in water, and it's good to go. It can serve as a decorative piece. This is also a philodendron adansonii that is growing entirely in water, guys. And I just stuck in this rattan, rattan cover just to serve as a decorative piece on top. Then over here, I have my philodendron boiler max, my variegated philodendron boiler max. Just doing her thing here. This is a very, very easy variegated plant. I feel like this should be a gateway plant to variegated plants because it's so easy and it grows like a weed. It grows rather aggressively. I've had my contained in this small pot so she doesn't take over and just become a nuisance like she has in the past. Speaking of variegated, I have a variegated Wilfine plant over here. So this is that's the non-variegated one, and this is the variegated one. Yeah, so cool stuff. And then I have this ZZ Zenzi. This is the only surviving ZZ in my care. Some of you know that when it comes to ZZs, I can't keep them alive. I think I water them a bit too heavily than they appreciate. But this one has just defied the odds, and she's still alive and she's pushing out new growth. I don't know if you guys can see, but she's pushing out new growth over there. So that's a miracle in itself as far as I'm concerned. Down here, I've got my calatheas. Some calatheas that I'm still holding on to because the Nigerian sun fried them almost to death when they were growing outdoors. This is another calathea that I will say is extremely hardy. Like, honestly, I've put this babe through so much neglect. Nigerian sun has attempted to fry her, and but she's still hanging in there and she's still happy. And then I've paired her with this other calathea that was almost fried to death at one point, but I'm trying to nurse back because I actually like this one, and they're not easy to find in this country. Okay, just dump them over there, just so that they can do their thing and recover. And then here I believe this is I don't know, is this a philodendron or a tomatophyllum? But whatever this plant is, they tend to be very, very expensive in this country, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you ask them, why is this so expensive? They can't give you a reason, because this is one that grows really fast. So I'm like, girl, why are you selling this plant at such an expensive rate? But I just got her recently, and she's doing her thing in this corner. I have her paired in a terracotta pot, an aged terracotta pot. I love terracotta, guys. Even as they age, I find them even more appealing. And here, then over here, this is an alocasia that I just recently purchased. So please don't ask me for alocasia green tips, because I just bought this babe about 2 weeks ago, and she's still alive. She's still cooking. My approach with alocasia is that I just see them as annuals. They come in your collection, they stay maybe 3-4 months, they die, you threw them away. I'm not going to ever try to resuscitate or revive an alocasia. I've moved on with my life. So this one is just going to be here, and when she declines, I shall throw her in the compost bin, because ain't nobody got time. So over here, I've got this gorgeous Hartley philodendron plant. This plant just fills me with so much nostalgia, because this used to be a popular plant back in the day during the Panini era. And some of you have also mentioned that even far back as the 80s, the 90s, you guys used to see this being sold in big box stores and all of that. But she seems to have fallen out of popularity. Babes, give her another chance in your life. I have her just placed in this corner here as a cute backdrop plant, and she's doing her thing. Like I said earlier, it's always important to have a mix of different types of plants, just to give your collection the volume, not just rare plants, but also like popular and common plants, to give your collection the much needed volume that's some of you so desperately need. Okay, and then guys, we forgot to talk about one plant here, because we're almost done with the plant room, but we forgot to talk about this babe here. This is my cute Aglaonema key lime. Oh, I actually love Aglaonemas. I had to get rid of a lot of my Aglaonemas because they had like a massive infestation, but this one, infestation of scales actually, this one I kept, and I have her green in this corner. It doesn't even get a ton of light, but she's doing her thing. Aglaonemas, honestly babes, you need Aglaonemas for your medium to low light areas, they just give it the volume that it so desperately needs. Okay guys, we are in my bedroom, and in this room I actually do not have a lot of plants because I don't know how some of you do it, but I can't sleep in a room that has so many plants because I may be frightened. At night you may wake up and you're like, Jesus, what is this? And then thinking it's a demon spirit, you die of a heart attack, not knowing that it's just a plant that you have next to you. So I've limited it to a few. I think there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5 plants here. But let's go through them one at a time. First of all, I want to bring out this auntie here. Bring her out so you guys have a better appreciation of this babe. This is a Skindapsis Tribii Moonlight. Do you guys remember when this babe came into the houseplant market, the houseplant scene, and everyone just loved her? But now y'all have forgotten about her. Remember when Skindapsis were the rage? Well, I still love her and appreciate her, and I have her hung next to my window, you know, where she casts a beautiful profile overlooking my tomato plants outside my window as well. So yeah, a babe and more in my opinion. Next I have this Aglaonema. Again, we are not Aglaonema snobs in this household. This, I believe, is an Aglaonema pink moon, and I just have her dumped here. I will say though that this Aglaonema tends to get really stretchy and very, very leggy, which didn't make me like her for a long time. But you know, I just feel like she complements this space, and yeah, I just dump her here, water her every now and then, and we're good to go. Let's bring up this. Yeah, but yeah, good to go. Love her. And then in this corner I have my Philodendron Tortum, guys. I don't know why I don't showcase this plant enough. This is such a beautiful, structural, amazing, like this is an amazing Philodendron that looks like a palm but isn't just quite a palm. And I grew this from one single leaf. I remember it was gifted to me as a friend at a time in Nigeria where they were so expensive, and she generously just gave me one cutting. That cutting took months to actually grow into a viable plant, but here we are. You don't have to zoom. But here we are, and she's growing in this very small pot. She's in their need of a repot, but you know, sometimes just leave your plants in their pots. You know, you don't have to grow them into huge specimens. I love how she looks here and how she just fits into this space. I don't want her to grow any bigger, and I think a bigger pot may make this place look a bit clumsy. So for that reason, she's gonna be in this pot for several more years. You guys, I need to bring this one out so you guys have a better view and appreciation. The things I do just to give you guys quality content. So you guys better subscribe to the channel, please. These videos are not easy to make. If you hear anybody crying, that's my neighbor's child. You know, I call him crying machine because he cries a lot. Look at the material. And I remember I grew this from a small pop to this beautiful, wonderful, iconic specimen. This might even be the thumbnail. What do you guys think? Love her absolutely. And I just have her placed right next to my window, supported by my window barricades. These are actually security barricades, you know, so people don't break into your house. We don't play with security in this nation. So I have her here, you know, and she's just doing her thing. I almost didn't want to show you this, you know, abominable sight. But you know, we always keep it real on this page. This is a snake plant, and this is what happens when you neglect your snake plant. All of you that keep saying snake plants thrive on neglect, well, is this your idea of thriving? I honestly keep forgetting to watch through this babe, and she's honestly just falling apart. Oh my god. But you know, maybe one of these days, I have to clean up that mess, but one of these days I'm gonna rehab her, change her soil, try some more TLC. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, so babes, we are in the living room, and if you're an OG of this page, you know that this living room is darkness. It has little to no natural light, and it's really, really dark, but I've been able to grow certain plants here. So this should give you an idea of what plants you can grow in dark spaces that don't necessarily need a grow light to function. Okay, starting off strong, I have this my Sansevieria. I've forgotten her name. She's not a Sansevieria jabois. She looks like a jabois, but she's not a jabois. So this is a beautiful one that is just growing like a weed here. Look at all the new shoots, guys. She's doing her thing, growing beautifully. So yeah, this is one that I would strongly recommend that you grow indoors if you have a low light area. It's a beautiful low light tolerant, drought tolerant, decorative plant. And I have her paired in this cement planter here. Now I also have from time to time, and she's doing her thing. Okay, in this shelf I've got a couple of cuttings I just stuck inside water. Like I said, babes, sometimes just take cuttings and stick them inside water. Yes, we do have some casualties, but you know, just to add a bit of greenery in corners that are typically dark. Here, this is actually a variegated Dracaena that I honestly don't treat really well. I got this little grow light for it and I barely put it on, but you know, she's hanging in there and she's doing her thing. So with the plants in the living room, I tend to subject them to a little bit more neglect because I'm not about to come here and be taking care of plants. I'm coming here to watch TV and relax, okay? Okay, so speaking of a plant that, you know, seems to take neglect really well, it's this construct Dracaena. I have told you guys and I will continue to tell you guys, this is the perfect statement plant for low light. This plant is practically growing in darkness, yet she's doing her thing. Look at, she's even brought out a new pop. Like, oh my god, I cannot recommend this plant. If you need a statement plant that you can just grow in a dark corner, then this madam needs to be your go-to. Okay, all of you that use plastic plants, you shouldn't when there's a plant like this exists. Guys, this is the brightest corner of my living room. This is my dining section, and I've paired some plants here as well. Again, low light tolerant, indoor friendly, drought tolerant, because I ain't got the time to be watering plants in this living room. This, you guys help me ID this. This is a Dieffenbachia reflector, and she's very, very slow growing. So I feel like I wish I would have gotten like a much bigger plant just to fill up this corner. I'm thinking of replacing this with a bigger plant. I mean, she's not bad here, but I just feel like I want something bigger and something that will grow a bit faster. Like, do you get what I mean? And then I have this Sansevieria here. This is girl, I don't know what Sansevieria this is, but I just have sis here. She's doing her thing, she's growing, you know, and she's serving as a lovely little decorative plant that I water from time to time. You need a snake plant in your collection. Not only are they structural, you can place them anywhere, but they're drought tolerant. You just water them from time to time and you're good to go. Okay, now another plant I strongly recommend, and it's one of my favorites, is this ponytail palm. Absolutely beautiful. This is an extremely drought tolerant plant. What's not to love? I paired her in this basket. This is a basket that we usually use to store tomatoes and vegetables in this part of the world, but I use this as a planter, and I have like a little container that, you know, I used to catch the water. I don't know if you can see it, but it's deep inside. I used to catch the water that I water her, and so it doesn't stain, and it's a good setup that works. She does need some dusting and some cleaning, but you know, aside from that, yeah, she's really dusty. Aside from that, she's good to go. And then in this corner, I have this one. I just recently purchased it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so the verdict is still on whether this is an easy one. She's still doing her thing. She's here. She's a Calathea rosary picta, if I'm not mistaken. You know, she's doing her thing. She's unproblematic so far. And then next, I have this beautiful deep raven dark emerald looking Sansevieria Black Dragon. Absolutely one of my favorite Sansevierias, and like I said, I cannot recommend Sansevierias enough in any space and any circumstance. And then over here I've got this Miss Little locking bamboo. Yes, it's actually locking bamboo, guys. Typically when these guys are sold, they are sold either like in water or they are sold braided, but this one is growing directly in soil and she's unbraided. You know, she's doing her thing. Beautiful decorative plants. I do want to see if I can get a bigger one. Just imagine a bigger cascading one here that will give me that background jungle effect, because I filmed some of my videos facing here, so I think that's the plan. I have fascists precariously placed in this rattan stand that I feel is going to fall down any moment from now. I need to either have it replaced or like readjusted, but other than that, she's pretty much good to go.
Oh, she's mine. 놓칠까 달렸던 나. Let's just take it slowly. 늦은 어떤 때 같은 곳을 바라보고 있잖아. Go anywhere you want to.
So guys, we've come to the end of this video. Honestly, it wasn't an easy video to film. I was exhausted. I was moments from giving up, but I just had to pull through for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tour. Like, my collection may not be contain the rarest plants, but I feel like it contains a fair mix of both common and the occasional unicorn plants, styled beautifully. I'm really big on how my plants are displayed and styled, and I hope it gave you some like style inspiration on how you can decorate and display your plants as well. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.